Today, Let's Talk About Wine is at the Liten Buffel Winery in Middleport, New York, where I'm going to talk to owner and winemaker Zack Klug. We're going to talk about wine and winemaking. So stick around while I ask Zack 5 questions. Zack, thanks very much. Really appreciate you being here, giving us the time to talk about the wine and all the things you have going on.
Thanks for having me.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about was one of the questions you probably are asked the most is, how did you get started in this? How does one get started in wine?
Well, I went to the local culinary institute for winery operations. Before that, I was working at a sign shop and just kind of decided around 24 to change everything about my life. So I went back to the local program as I wanted to be a grape grower. And through that program realized that in order to do something like that in a region that is this young, I'd have to do both, and then slowly fell in love with winemaking as well.
So can you talk a little bit more about your education at the Culinary Institute?
Yeah, so it's a great program that needs more people to get involved with it. It covers the basics of grape growing, winemaking, sensory, sommelier type training, and also business. So you get kind of a wide swath of everything you need to start off in the industry to figure out which path you want to go down.
How would you describe your winemaking style?
Well, we've been put into the natural wine camp. Our personal dogma of how we want to make wine is a little more low interventionist. It's more of an honest representation of what that vintage is like, what that terroir is like. So as much as we can remove ourselves from the process without it turning into vinegar, the better. A lot of that is matching our lifestyles and our personality, because we are part of that terroir, the actual local people. And a lot of it is just what we need to get done when we need to get it done.
Right.
So a lot of it's more simple, rustic techniques. So we crush the grapes with our feet as opposed to using a machine to do it. We age in old wood instead of newer oak. We only move it a few times so we don't have to add sulfites, or if we do, we only add a little bit at bottling. We don't fine, we don't filter, and we don't adjust the chemistry of the grapes when they come in or when they go out.
Is there someone in the world of New York wine or in the world of wine itself that inspired you or that you admire as far as remembering how they go about winemaking in their process that you like?
Kurt Guba was my professor at the Institute, and he's still teaching there. He was the one that initially got me over I just want to grow grapes. I don't want to have anything to do with the pretentious side of winemaking and the sales part, which is the worst part. I just wanted to grow the grapes, and he was like, but wait till you see this. Wait till you see the whole process. And I think he was really the driving force that initially pushed me down the path that I'm now. In the rest of New York State, outside of just our community, I'd say Kim Engel from Bloomer Creek. I was, already kind of a dirty hippie, and then to find out that there was another person in New York that was more artistically driven and making natural wine, it showed me, especially from a region that's a little more cold in some parts of the growing season, sometimes more wet. If they can do it there, then we can do it here. So it was nice to have that behind my back, like, I know this will work.
What would you say to someone that's thinking about starting, managing a vineyard, owning a winery, making wine, all of that?
Well, as long as they can afford to, I'd say go get a job at a winery. I think having a formal education is important, but it's not necessary if your goal is to learn and experience actually how to make wine. I definitely think people should go to the program that fits their needs or what they're able to do. The Culinary Institute's program is pretty decent. It's not a long program. It's not too involved in your personal life. Like you can go to school during the week, or you can do night classes. You can do independent study. I think though jumping into a business, like actually getting a job somewhere, is is fundamental. Like, you need that actual education, but you also need to actually work somewhere. And I think people trying to get into the industry don't realize just how easy it is to get a job in the wine industry. Like, everyone's hiring, you just have to go and ask. Everyone wants some help, whether it's work in the vineyard or work in the tasting room or helping in the cellar, just part-time. Everyone's there. And that's the one thing that I didn't think of when I started out. Was I wanted to work at this one winery, but I didn't think they'd hire me unless I went to school. So I went to school and then got a job somewhere else. I said to them that, yeah, someday I want to work for you guys. And he was like, well, why didn't you just say that, last year? We would have hired you.
Right.
So I think, getting over the idea that wine is a hard thing to get into, because it's not. It's as long as you can afford to work for the pay that the industry brings, or you have the time to do it as a second job, it's really pretty easy to get into.
Past vintages, do you have a favorite?
16 Quast Vineyard is my favorite because it's impressive and it showcases what Pinot Noir in Niagara can do in great warm years with minimal touching. Like, it's 100% whole cluster. We crushed it up with our feet and we stepped on it twice a day for a month until the cap fell, pressed it in some old wood, and then put it into a bottle. And I think it's for what I usually make, I think it's very telling of just what we can do with little intervention. So just imagine what kind of classical style Pinot Noirs you can produce with more techniques and tools that we use in the wine industry.
Well, thanks very much. We're out of time. Zach, it was great talking to you.
You too.
That's going to be it for this episode of Let's Talk About Wine. Ask 5 questions. Check us out on YouTube. We'll leave descriptions in the box below. And check out some of Zach's wines. And we'll see you next time. I'm Baron Lux. Thanks for watching.